My first one.
Great.
Sorry.
Yeah.
See your whole life.
Yeah.
Yep. We done? All right. Please stand. I guess you have the same thing we would do, face towards the flag. If you are a civilian, place your hand on your heart. If you're prime military, retired or active, you're getting render salutes as necessary. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. So next is a moment of reflection. I like to, it's my first time here, but what I'd like to say is, I had to give all for a small vocal prayer saying that, I just ask for God's blessing on this meeting room tonight, have him be with us, have him grant us peace of mind, have him grant us some, a judgment-free eyes, so we can speak to each other, hear each other properly and without bias or judgment. Let us respect our fellow persons here in this room and to have a good meeting for the betterment of our township. So, amen. Amen. Roll call.
Supervisor Kemp.
Present.
Clerk Baraco, here. Treasurer Miller. Here. Trustee Hires.
Here.
Trustee Beamish.
Here.
Trustee Greenwood. Here. Trustee Dignan.
Here.
7 present. We have a quorum.
So thank you. First off, I'd like to ask for the approval of the minutes from March 14th, 2024, the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Support. There's a second.
But are we
Thank you.
doing agenda or a minute?
Agenda.
Agenda.
Agenda. Approval of the previous agenda.
No, this would be the current agenda. For item 5.
That's the agenda for tonight. Sorry, for current agenda tonight, yes. Do we vote upon that?
Yes.
We have
Right.
to have a second.
Yep.
So,
I would like to make a friendly amendment. We have a member from Police and Vandenbrink here. I think it would be advantageous for him to speak after we discuss the cost recovery ordinance that pertains to the fire department.
Support. Excellent. So, we'll have, after we do the cost recovery, we'll have to speak in brief about, new topic. We'll add on to tonight's meeting because it is very important. We need to vote on that. And, so some of us, all in favor of, hearing them speak tonight, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion so carries. Excellent. Roll call again.
for the minute.
Gotcha. So now approving of the previous minutes then? Our next little agenda here?
Hang on.
Yes.
We
didn't actually vote on-
approved the amendment to the agenda. We haven't approved the agenda.
Sorry. So for the season's agenda, let's make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion so carries.
Point where?
Yes.
Or do we need to roll call on these things or we'll get a DVD?
We've always done roll call, but I don't know if we have to do roll call, but we've always done roll call.
Yeah.
That should definitely stay consistent.
Okay. Let's do roll call.
Roll call again?
Clerk Baraco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yep.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Dignan.
Yeah.
Supervisor Kendall.
Yeah.
7 yes. Motion carried.
Moving on to the approval of the minutes from February 8th, 2024. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Support.
Excellent. All in favor of
No, we're discussing.
discussion?
I just found one error that it's listed as agenda instead of minute. At least in mine. If we could correct
Yeah, I
that.
see that.
And that's all I have. So, yes, friendly amendment to correct the header from Township Board meeting agenda to Township Board meeting minutes.
Support. Second support, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye. So the roll call, you can say aye. Say aye there, good.
I think
Motion
friendly amendment, we're okay on.
Yeah, the I, but it's the approving.
So, approve the minutes.
So we approved the, minutes with the friendly amendment. Correct.
Still with the public comments on agenda items.
Let's clear up a roll call, because we did the friendly amendment, we do the
We
approval.
did the I vote for the all in favor vote. So we'll do the roll call for the
James
approval of the
approved.
minute.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
We already have that. That's
All right,
supported.
discussion, vote to approve. Okay, on.
Treasurer
roll
Miller.
call?
Yeah. Trustee Hire.
Yeah.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Dingman.
Yeah.
Supervisor Penfield.
Yeah.
Clerk Roscoe. Yeah. All in favor, motion carried.
That's it, thank you. Public comments. The agenda items only. So moving down to, is the communications.
They're
then?
gonna, now you have to give them a chance to talk.
Okay, so to the public or,
Public comments, they get to come up in 3 minutes.
all righty, so public comments. First podium, you'll have 2 minutes to speak and we will go from there.
Name.
Your name, please.
Justin Schatz.
Thank you. Please.
The main thing I would just like to address on the agenda is the main resolution item on there tonight, for the cost ordinance.
Yes.
And what I'm thinking when I see this stuff, I was really glad to hear already that we're gonna get some kind of presentation on that tonight, and that is good, but all I would like to request as a citizen is when I'm looking at the agenda and the packet coming forward to the meetings and stuff like that, as a citizen, I think it would be best if they could get some kind of an idea of where this initiative is coming from. This is something that's been brought up repeatedly here at the township, that things show up on our township agendas, but as township residents, just as standard voters, we don't know why. We don't know where the suggestions came from or where the initiative is coming from, if it's something that's coming from amongst the people, or if it's something coming from the outside, kind of an oppressive government kind of a thing at times. And, specifically, we spent a ton of energy, resources, legal fees, all kind of things on solar ordinance for, I think, a couple of years even, so several years. And in the end, our legal counsel pretty much wound up saying to us that we were going to have to do whatever consumers wanted, or else the state was just going to come through and make us anyways. So basically, we had been going through a real pointless, very expensive and exhaustive argumentative exercise for a long time for something that there was never any intention on following through with actually having our own ordinance. We're apparently always going to have the cookie cutter one and plan to submit. And I just think that for people from the township, we'd just like to see that reason why. We've been told when we've asked here before some real flimsy reasons, like there's a few anonymous callers who had concerns. And so now we're having this township-wide initiative. And I think really it's just, we deserve it as voters, as residents in the township, just to not be hit with it at the meeting. This is what's coming. Here's a quick presentation. We're voting. Glad you had your chance to see what happened. Nobody can be involved.
That's right.
And it's it's just a thing of if we had some things we could count on here, like a known time when the agenda was going to be posted every month, and a known, so where there's some warning of what's going to be on there, and people can familiarize themselves and kind of research into it and kind of come prepared to be involved as a community member. And not just like right now, I have no idea what this cost recovery ordinance really is about.
Take the concerns. Is there anybody else? Concerns from the public out here? All right, so. At point in time, we bring, we have to do a calculator first, that's to be later on. We have
So now we have reports from,
police and fire, that's to get the cost recovery, we'll bring it up after that.
we will bring it up as, it's a resolution or something.
Okay,
We're gonna move forward with the,
that's police fire, okay, excellent. So next we have the reports of the police and fire. Also the valley,
Yep. All right, so for the call to service for Bedford this past month, we went on 320 calls to the township. 4 priority 1 calls that's in progress for such as like a breaking and entering, in progress domestics, in progress fights. Our arrival time to get to those priority 1 calls was within 4 minutes through the township. So we had a breaking and entering incident, near locations of Feld Avenue and Michigan Avenue. A resident's door was tampered with and approximately $700 was taken, as well as a Nintendo Switch. And still under investigation. We've been making traffic stops in the township this month. We had a good traffic stop in the area of Stephanie Ave and Cross Street. There was a individual who was arrested for a probation violation, and we seized drugs, a lot of drugs.
Good job.
There are a lot of spam calls going around. I just want to encourage residents here and the board members of Bedford Township, if you receive an unknown call or a blocked number call, we encourage you not to answer it. Let it go to voicemail. If it's important, they will leave a voicemail. All right. It is tax season, so we've seen a lot of spam risk calls that people are answering the calls, giving personal information out to the spammers, and now people are getting hacked. So summarize, if you don't know the phone number, it comes in unknown, comes in blocked, I advise just don't answer it. They leave a voicemail, obviously we can get back to them. And that is it.
officer, just a quick question. Out of the priority 1 calls you had, you said there's 341,
320.
320, sorry.
Well, that was the whole
Month.
month.
Right.
Yep.
And how's that compared to a month prior? We see a increase or decrease in crime in the area? What is it?
So that's just the everyone calls for service. We're average anywhere from 300 to almost, I would say 370, 380. So we're kind of in that mark.
All right, so we're doing about the same average then.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
From fire, Chief Cockensparger.
As usual, medical is running pretty fast on us here, but and about 196 right now, I believe, in there on medical run and accidents so far this year. Other night, Tuesday night, we had a bad one on Morgan there, on Morgan Wall, back on the biker got killed there. He kind of lost it doing a lot of speeding down through there. He lost his bike and went over the side and took out a sign and stuff there. And so, he kind of ended his life, but I think your bike was just a little bit more than he could handle, because it was about over $30,000 bike, a high-speed bike, and they were speeding down Morgan, a couple of them bypassed the truck at the same time, one on each side, and the one that went to the other side of the road, he lost control of it, and then that ended him, so. But other than that, we're still moving along. We've got next month, we're starting our 240-hour class, and it will be held right here for firefighters. We've got a couple in our department, and I think there's a couple more in other stations that'll be coming here to do the class for 240 hours to get certified in the fire department and stuff, thing here. So other than that, things are just moving right along. Guys we've got, and they're good. Like I always said in the past, you've got a good department here. we've got a good bunch of guys that are, young guys that are willing to learn and then they're willing to work and they're continuing that way, so hopefully have that. And we also have some ladies on the department too, so, we're hopefully keeping a good job up with the township here and the residents and stuff, but haven't heard any comments back from anybody bad and stuff, so, we're still kicking and stuff, so. I have not met you personally, but I reached you tonight and stuff, and I hope to meet with you and, talk about some of the things at the fire department and stuff, and, get to know each other a little bit better before somebody causes us our problem on it. So,
That'd be great, Chief. Look forward to it.
no problem though. But otherwise, right now I'll turn it over to the gentleman here, finish it up on the fire department. He's on about number 1 station out there. We're looking at a part of building a new one out there because that one has been cut down. It's been 1937 is when it was built, and, it's a condition right now. I've got 2 trucks in there and I've got to have some stuff place to place those trucks when that station goes down and stuff. So we're working on it. So I'll turn it over to the gentleman.
Actually, Chief, we need a motion for that first. My apologies. We need to make a motion. So that I have a motion to, have this gentleman speak about the conditions of the fire station 1.
We have it. We're gonna include it after the cost recovery
It'll
ordinance.
be a little bit, Chief.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. We'll get him in.
All right.
Thank you. Next is the legislative and the intergovernmental relations from Representative Hadsma and Commissioner Frisbee. Commissioner?
Paul, I'm gonna talk from Representative Hodges' office. I'm today here with Nick, the Lord had any other issues that you wanted to talk to me about, I'm happy to talk. I'll stick around. I'll come in. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Steve Frisbee. Biggest part of business we did meeting last week was to approve the hot mix asphalt for the paving season. We had 4 bidders, and it's the closest I've seen that come in is within a couple $100,000 of each other. So the competitiveness was good. We did award it to Lakeland, who's local and had the lowest price, and they've done a lot of work for us and done pretty well. But Reeve Riley out of Kalamazoo, who was probably challenged because of the distance to deliver it, came pretty darn close. The good news about that is we only experienced about a 3% increase in the cost of hot mix asphalt for this year, which we were pretty satisfied with. We've seen big increases in the last 4 or 5 years. So we have one more meeting here in March, next Thursday, and then our we'll have one monthly meeting in April, and that'll be the second Tuesday, and it's the equalization. Paul had to remind me last Tuesday. That word always escapes me. It's our annual equalization meeting, so we'll be there on Tuesday night. Any questions from me?
All right. We go to presentations. Right, we've gone to unfinished business. We have the personal policy update.
That was gonna be me.
Excellent, thank you.
We've been working on that. We've been making some steady progress on that. When I say we, I've been working with, trustees Beamish and, Greenwood, and also our attorney. We've been using, the, township of Chapel and, Georgetown, along with our own ordinances to, beef up the personnel policy. We continue to work. There's a draft in our, packet. And Seth, I didn't know if you wanted to elaborate any on that, but I just want to open for if you had a comment or two.
It's just a draft of updates to the existing personnel policy, nothing ready for adoption, anything like that, but I think the idea was to sketch out an outline of what could be revised, which we did, and then sort of build up from there. We've been working with Stacy and Barry, and what's in your packet's been reflective of where we're at with it. That's all.
For Chairman Stabe, the roads committee report. Evening. Sorry, I'm sorry.
All right, don't worry about it. Everybody does. Does the board have any questions about the report that was in their packet?
you could just go over briefly so the public is aware of, what you guys have been working on.
And I did notice that that did not make it to the website. It's been a part of your packet.
It was not on the website.
That's correct.
Could we please have, kind of a presentation so the public is aware of what's going on?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So basically, the road committee met 4 times last year. I'll just give a brief synopsis of what the board has. We'll hopefully get that out on the website at some point. That was the intention, and that did make it over on time. We get on the website. A little disappointing it's not there. Anyways, I digress. So we met 4 times last year, discussed a variety of topics. How to maintain the roads, look over the county's policies, which were included obviously in the report as well. Both policy 509 and then the SOP policies for township, if they wanted to go out on their own, what requirements are, required of that. That'll probably be very interesting information for our new supervisor, obviously, to have and go over, as far as that goes. And basically, we've come up with 4 recommendations. The top one being the committee's recommendation that we should have a township road coordinator hired by the township that is essentially a liaison between the board, Warren County Road Department, and then obviously the Benton County Commission, as oversight on our own quality control, if you will. One of the biggest things that we talked about it at every meeting, was the need for communication and oversight on the township's behalf, meaning someone that is, reporting to the board that works for the township, not from the road department or not at all. Oversight is a key component to this. Given the scope and complexities that a long-term road maintenance plan require, the committee is recommending that the board consider hiring a road coordinator. Their role will be to serve as liaison between the board and the CCRD, attend CCRD meetings as a township representative, attend the Calhoun County Commission meetings regarding road funding as a township representative, and assist with independent assessment of township roads, oversee work completed by the CCRD and or outside contractors, assist with any requests for proposals for projects that would not be done with the CCRD, and work with the board to establish road requirements to be included in your capital improvements plan. That is the number 1 recommendation of this committee, and I feel very strongly about it. I know Mr. Hires does, and Scott does as well. The other thing that we did, we reviewed the CCRD policies. Obviously, they're in your packet, but basically, policy 509 is the Calhoun County Road Department's funding match program. So if you wanted to submit for a project, the project is scored out with the assessment from the Calhoun County Road Department, and then that goes into the pool with all the other townships, and that is done on a 50-50 match. This year they had, I think, $1.5 million to spend. That report also is included in your packet, or should have been, showing what projects were submitted, what projects were approved, and that's kind of really relevant to look at because it shows you how small of a portion you actually get approved for. So Penfield Township, I think, only got approved for like 3 miles of road. But we have 64 miles of road here in Bedford that we're responsible for on a 50-50 match. The county has 26 miles of primary. So obviously only doing a few miles of road a year is not going to work as far as that goes. Also in your packet is the list of primary roads that the county is tentatively going to do. You'll notice that there's not a Bedford Township primary road on there either. That's why having a liaison to advocate for the township and attend these meetings, again, going back to that original recommendation, is so imperative. As far as 509 goes, obviously it's a 50-50 split. That is a recent change in 2022 in February. That went from 70-30 to 50-50. That's obviously a huge cost to the township, an extra 20% that, you know, typically was not having to be covered.
My apologies, Mr. Bab,
Right.
died. With the whole proposal to have the township road coordinator, do we actually have a proposal as far as background education and cost to hire them, as far as what their salary would be per year?
So that is in my personal opinion, not necessarily the role of the advisory committee. Our role is to make a recommendation to the board, and then the board is going to need to, via resolution, put out, basically a job application. And you guys will need to decide what is gonna be in there. Do I think that engineering and, background in the field is absolutely relevant? Sure. But I do think that there is room for a common sense, middle ground approach.
Do you know if any of the townships have a road coordinator that we actually could find as far as a baseline we could talk about to
Yeah.
somebody else there for?
Emmett Township has one.
Okay,
I forget that gentleman's name, and they have, basically a brief little job description on their website. Very similar to what I described as what their role would be. But that is something that the board, will need to.
right, I think it's sort of about the price for
Correct,
hiring him,
yeah.
because as funds are is what they are.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, we could still
Yeah.
hire him and still
Yeah.
fix the roads.
Yeah, I mean, and part of that role is gonna be, being available, I would think, being available to the community. So, when you need to report something, obviously you report it to the county. But we have the ability to have someone that represents us follow up
Yes,
and attend the meetings, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, if you will. That's very important.
if they don't know it, you can't fix it.
That's right, absolutely. Our third recommendation was that we do an independent township road assessment. Also in your packet was the 2023 assessment of the roads in a 5-year plan from the county. They have assessed our roads, but the committee feels very strongly that maybe an independent assessment of that is appropriate. And that will also help guide the capital improvement plan for what projects are, desperately in need. Need to be done first, maybe can hold off for a little while, because obviously,
Triage, what's more
Exactly.
important.
Yep.
So who did this report here? I'm sorry, the investigation of the roads, the assessment of the roads, who did this in the 509?
So the policy 509 is the county policy.
Okay,
Okay.
well, so who did the assessment of the roads?
So
that
the
looked at
assessment of the
independent-
roads in their 5-year plan was done by the county
Okay.
themselves. And again, our own oversight is critical in the committee's opinion. To get our own assessment, the county will assess the roads and kind of guide according to their plan. And I think it's important that we guide to what is best for the township and the residents.
No, the independent assessor, do you have anybody in mind or any group in mind that could do the independent?
I mean,
assessment?
there are many firms out there. Fleet and Vandenbrink obviously is one. They're here now. That's by design, by the way. But there are other places. I would assume that would be, you put out an RFP and, get a bid for the scope of the work. Again, all that is board action that will need to be taken.
Thank you.
And then the fourth recommendation that we have is that the long-term maintenance plan is critical in any obviously decision-making process moving forward. This plan would utilize an independent assessment to establish routine maintenance such as, crack sealing, chip sealing, pothole repair, et cetera. And then, periodic maintenance, overlays, culvert repairs, tree trimming, canopy, et cetera. I did enclose in there as a spreadsheet that has an example of a 5, 7, and 10-year plan. That is, what's sent over as a downloadable document that you guys can play around with to just kind of see. I just put bare minimum numbers in it for the overlay, because obviously we did a lot of overlay, 7 years ago, and there's probably not a need for it, but you can't just assume that you won't ever have to do any. And then the second part of that spreadsheet is just if you went off of the county's plan, which would be to chip seal everything. And I just extrapolated that out at a 5, 7, and 10-year just to show you what the cost would be as far as that goes. And again, we'll get all that, I'm sure, on the website so the public can see it. So those are just examples. They don't signify a recommendation from the committee. That was just to give you guys number that you could look at so that you could start thinking about, you know, what that looks like, as far as that goes. So in summary, the last special assessment for roads was done in 2014. A lot has changed drastically since then. The most impactful change going from the 70-30 split to the 50 split. I do also want to say that, Calhoun County road funds from the road department, they're not guaranteed. They had an easy winter this year, so maybe there'll be more in the kitty. But, you have a winter where there's not going to be as much. They're dependent on their budget, for their road scoring and, requested projects from all the townships in the county. Most of our road projects from the special assessment were completed 6 to 8 years ago, meaning the roads are now in need of maintenance, to remain in good condition. And that is kind of, where you would start to think about chip sealing, that's kind of a 5 to 7 year cycle based upon the research that we've done. So it's the recommendation of the committee that we get, a road coordinator, get an independent assessment, review the funding options. Those things are gonna be key to a successful road management plan, which we don't have, obviously.
So if we have a road, coordinator and the township takes this on, they would be making, full-scale recommendations. But if we choose to match with the county, you see them more as like in an advocacy role, correct?
I mean,
As well as a liaison.
Yeah. I think it's advantageous for us to, anytime the county will match us dollar for dollar, that's taxpayer money coming back in, obviously. But if you look at those spreadsheets, it's pretty obvious that it'll take us 25 years to get through. I mean, the goal of a maintenance plan is gonna be to touch every inch of your pavement at least one time in whatever, whether it's 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. If you just kind of, extrapolate out what spreadsheets show you based on what the projects were approved this year, and it'd be forever, obviously. And a road is a lot more costly to maintain if you don't maintain it as you're going along, because then you're talking about doing overlays. And, so we did $4.3 million last time. We did a lot of overlay. We did do some chip seal. Most of the township roads got hit. That cost would be almost triple that now. So, and that was, when the county was willing to match. I'm sure they would not do that again. So yeah, to answer your question, Trustee Greenwood, I would think that they would be heavily involved, no matter whether it's a 50-50 split project or project that we're out on our own. I will say, if you read the policy 509, township can increase their odds if they do an overmatch, if we match 60% or 70%. But again, it's a small fraction of what needs to be done. Any other questions from the board?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So do we need a motion to move this to next month for, unfinished business for continued discussion? Once we
On the coordinator, is that what you mean?
Once we this information to continue discussion, do we need a motion for that?
Keep it on the unfinished business.
Yeah.
Probably.
Can you make, is there a motion to move the, idea of hiring a township road coordinator for our township, be acting either as a liaison or independent contractor to get things done, to put into old business for next meeting?
Why
Unfinished.
Unfinished business for next meeting. That'll give them a month to actually look and find information, research.
Hiring.
That's so.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. All in favor? Let's wait for through here. Okay, okay, aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
That's the thing.
Don't be
In
it.
favor. Move it down to.
Yeah, working review had that.
Okay.
Okay, wow. Next we're going to the treasurer report.
Normally, I like to do a financial report, but it was a little bit too busy this month for me to get that out.
I'd like to look at unfinished business again with a motion. And we'll get out a financial report, next month, but, I do want to, take this time out. Can I do a financial committee? Can I get a motion for a financial committee?
We have two motions on the table. Which one do you want to do first?
Okay, first, move this treasurer's report to the next one.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Right, motion carries. Next motion.
Okay, next motion. We're gonna start a financial oversight committee. It was recommended by Manor Katsarian, an auditing firm that came in and kind of searched around and discovered what kind of weaknesses, compared us to other townships and, you know, just from their experience. So we had a nice list of recommendations, and one of those was the financial oversight committee. And, I thought that was great because there's a lot of,
We have to second that before we do opinions. So I will support that.
sure enough, go for that.
So now we can continue discussion.
Okay,
Which motion, sorry?
for the financial oversight committee.
Okay.
Okay, and then,
So thoughts. What are your thoughts on that?
so on Senate, I've got a couple people already, handpicked out. I want to get a nice, a variety of people, 5 to 7. But I've got a couple people I've already got picked out because I know that they have past experience with, public accountants and, prior treasury experience. So I thought they could bring, their key knowledge and insight to the township, for us. And so if you'd like to start a financial oversight committee, we'll start with 5 people. I'll need 3 volunteers. And, the first meeting we've got scheduled for April 20th, so if we get 3 volunteers before April 20th. If there's more, I might just take everybody, let you guys come in, see what it is, and then you decide to like, this is for me, this is not for me, but at least look.
So what was the protocol? I don't have the Mayor Casterison documentation in front of me. What was the protocol for recommendation regarding the committee? Was it a list of all,
It was just,
residents, or were there?
oh, you're right, you're right.
Yeah, can you explain that? And-
So they had recommended something, but I don't exactly have to follow the recommendations.
Okay,
They had recommended, most of it, mostly from the inside, but like, that's our jobs already, so that wasn't gonna do us a lot of good. So I thought maybe more different eyes on the prize would help. Normally it would have been like the clerk, the treasurer, the supervisor, and then a couple other people maybe. But right now I've got it, the treasurer, and then certified public accountant, probably superintendent. If you wanna do it, I don't care, you know.
Isn't the recommendations for committees, the supervisor's role statutorily?
yeah.
I do like the idea of the committee, as far as nominating who would be on the committee, bringing the list, giving it to me, so that we could actually meet in committee, with myself and whoever else, and we can start putting through a list of names to see what's going on there and interview and try and find it out. I think it'd be, acceptable. But we have the motion already on the books. The last one was to, I guess, form the committee.
Form the committee.
So, Treasurer Miller, just for the public, can you explain what the intent is of the Financial Oversight Committee?
Wow, there's a lot. So, there's 7 accounts, 2 CDs, there's about, $6 to $8 million at any given time to kind of keep track of. There's money in different places. Some is in tax reserve CDs, some in little buckets. People have like if it's $1 million, like 25% belongs to this person, 25% belongs to this person. Making sure that everybody's little buckets are accounted for appropriately. There's a lot. I've got a whole list on my board in there, but I didn't write it down to bring it out here. But yeah, there's like 15 different categories of interest that we would want to look at, all financial related.
Prior to voting on it, I would like to see Maynard Kirstern's recommendations formally put out in front of it before we actually, because structurally what I see is
if we vote to move forward with this, the supervisor would make recommendations to the board would then vote on it. Before I'd be willing to vote on it, I would want to see what their recommendations for that
Mhm.
board structure was.
So I'd like to make a motion to review the,
Hang on, we have a motion already on the
oh,
floor.
sorry, to apologize.
I'd like to talk.
Which motion
comment on
currently
that.
here?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we're in discussion, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
can I retract that motion and quickly move forward with a more appropriate motion as we've discovered? Can I retract that last motion?
I don't think you can.
No.
I think we have to
No.
vote
Yeah,
up
we
and
have
down.
to
Vote for
Okay,
one.
let's vote it.
And I'd like to comment on that. Supervisor.
Yes.
One, I'm not supportive of that motion. Something of this nature that's couldn't get to the agenda ahead of time anyway. And I believe in it, we just approved a full-time deputy for the treasurer's office at $52,600 a year, making payroll for treasurer's office over $100,000 a year. Yes, Manager Kastarian did recommend a finance committee. But again, this is not something to bring up willy-nilly to add onto the agenda. One, if you wanted to add onto the agenda, should have done it at the beginning of the meeting and not now. And this needs a little bit more thought and a better presentation than just knee-jerk doing it here. So I would vote no on it. If it,
So should we do a vote and then if you want a separate motion, you can adjust that? Would that be the proper protocol? Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, do the second motion. That's one person on a 7.
So do the roll call on the original
The
motion.
original motion is to move forward to explore the oversight committee, correct?
No, it was to form.
To form.
Not,
To form the oversight committee.
that was the problem I had with it.
Okay. Do you want to do a roll call?
Yes, please.
Okay. Trustee Beamish.
no.
Trustee Greenwood.
No.
Trustee Dingman.
No.
Supervisor Kendall.
No.
Clerk Baraco. No. Treasurer Miller.
I'm gonna also say no.
Trustee Hires.
No.
7 no, motion failed.
Okay. So let's hold off on this for a second then, and let me do a better presentation. That's more fair, and at least you guys have a little nugget that this is going to be formed.
And with the presentation, if you would mind, please presenting the findings of the committee to the entire board up here, so we can review it before the next meeting.
Not a problem. Got it already.
Thank you. At the end of the treasure report.
Yep, that's all the changes I needed.
Next is the marijuana licensing ordinance discussion.
Yep, I can take this. We have sent, as of this morning, all the documents to the Calhoun County Planning Commission, and we are scheduled for their Monday, March 25th meeting for them to review that, and we should be hearing back shortly after that.
So again, when I was took the role here, what is the plan? What is the current situation?
We're just updating both, adult use and medical marijuana ordinances. That could probably speak on it a little bit more.
So the planning commission just wanted to tighten up its zoning ordinances regarding medical marijuana and adult use in staff facilities. The planning commission held a couple meetings in that regard, and anytime they put together a zoning ordinance amendment, there's a public hearing at the planning commission level. And they held that public hearing and they recommended that the board adopt it. So the township board has the legislative authority to actually enact an ordinance, not the planning commission. Part of the process is, once it leaves the planning commission, it goes over to Calhoun County, to their planning department. And they'll review it and make any recommendations to the township board. Nothing that they make, none of these recommendations are binding on the board, it's just informational and guidance. They do know it's coming, but I don't think they had the county planning commission hasn't had an opportunity to provide any formal input. So it sounds like that's happening on Monday. Yep. And then any guidance they give will come up with the township board and you'll be able to review that at your, I guess, your April meeting. The purpose of the zoning ordinance amendments is really to tighten up some of the existing standards. The township's in the
The
process,
language of it all,
I'm sorry?
just the language of it all.
Yeah, and the township's in the process of updating its entire zoning ordinance through a different planning consultant, McKenna, they're doing that. So this is kind of ongoing with that. And that's the state of affairs regarding marijuana ordinances.
May I interject on that?
Please.
So the idea was to review the licensing ordinance, the same time that we review the zoning ordinance. We were hoping to get that back to do it this month, but we're waiting on the county, so that will be delayed. I think it would be advantageous to look at both at the same time, so that's the intent.
Here's my own notification. I know there are some farms, some growing farms here in the Bedford Township area. Are there any thoughts of putting in, God forbid, shops in the Bedford Township area?
Yeah,
Dispensaries?
we have
Yeah,
current,
we
we have current ordinances. These are amendments to the current ordinances that we have. So then we could do both the zoning ordinance and the licensing ordinance all at the same time, based on the planning commission recommendation.
Okay,
Cody, how many facilities do we have?
Total facilities?
Mhm.
Oh, we've got Hazen, Paisley, Wolverine, Turkey Farms, I believe their name is.
or evolution.
Leaf and Bud, Evolution, Potters. On the highway, Dispo, right up the street.
So we only have one provisioning center though, right?
Right.
The majority are
Yes,
grows.
well, yep,
Yeah, there's the part, the growers, right?
Yeah.
It was the division center?
it's a highway Dispo right up, if you take a left on West Michigan off the old drift here. It's right up there in the old West Point Party Store.
Right, moving on to petitions and new business. So there's a resolution from 2416, resolve that the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township Bedford approve the payment of expenses totaling $944,480.58.
So move.
Support. So,
Sorry, any questions?
are there any questions? You called that.
Good.
Any questions
Board.
and discussion?
No, I have none. No.
Actually, I was in the packet back there, so I'm aware of that, so good. Moving on to approve this with roll call.
Trustee Greenwood,
Yes.
trustee Dingman,
Yeah.
clerk Baraco, yes. Treasurer Miller,
Yes.
trustee Hires,
Yes.
trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Supervisor Kenzel,
Yes.
7 yes, motion carried.
We got on to the resolution, 314-2417. Resolve the Board of Trustees, did I read the whole thing? Okay, good. Resolve the Board of Trustees of the entire Township of Bedford to authorize superintendent to submit the request for allocation of the Calhoun County Recreation local distribution for 2024, the amount of $30,177.67. These millage funds, which were approved by the taxpayers on August 4th, 2020, these for the purpose of maintaining, operating, preserving, and acquiring and developing our parks.
So move.
Support. All in favor? Oh, that's roll call, sorry, never mind, sorry. Discussion. I got it, really done.
And this is kind of a formality to continue receiving the Parks and Rec millage. To use, and Dennis had to do some work to get that done. And so it's kind of a formality to continue getting those funds. It has to be approved here. And then the county gets us some of our money back.
All right,
Use it as a part.
do we actually have a plan for the parks in the area for update upkeep?
We do have a Parks and Rec committee that's been holding activities and doing quite a bit of work and making some nice events. And they
Upgraded picnic tables.
Keith Graham Park had a good upgrade last year. It's like ongoing.
There's a new flyer out on the table from the Parks and Rec Committee with the
And
next
there's
few events.
a park in there too. There's,
Okay.
yeah, they've been doing some stuff. Well, it's nice. They're a good committee.
Excellent. Then roll call for approval?
Trustee Dingman,
Yeah.
clerk Baraco, yeah. Treasurer Miller,
Yes.
supervisor Kenzel,
Yes.
trustee Beamish.
Yeah.
Trustee Greenwood,
Yes.
trustee Hires.
Yeah.
7 yes, motion carried.
Excellent. The last resolution here is going to be the 314-2418. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to distribute the current cost recovery ordinance to legal counsel for updates and revisions as necessary. We have the attachment package we've all reviewed. Discussion.
That's a move.
I'm sorry,
Move.
Well, I believe we have the fire department here that could, offer some insight if you're willing for them to present.
Yes. To expand on the cost recovery ordinance,
The Chief Woodward, how are you? What we did is we had an incident on M37 where a dairy truck, tractor trailer, jackknife split the fuel tank, spilled the fuel on the ground. Our cost recovery ordinance has been on the books for many years. I want to say 2009, but I'm not exactly sure. So after that incident, I went in, pulled up the ordinance, started doing the paperwork on it, realized it's outdated. The language needs to be updated. There's some things that that have gone into effect, such as impaired driving, that's not included in that. And then we have 2 vehicles that are not currently listed in the fee schedule. So I wrote up a recommendation for basically just updating the language, and changing the verbiage to current standards. So that's where that come from. It's not a new ordinance. Like I said, it's been on the books for many years. I think it goes back to, Tom, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it goes back to the farm and police fire. That at that point, because we lost a lot of equipment during that hazardous materials incident, that the ordinance came about so that we could recover the cost of damaged equipment, recover the time, all that kind of good stuff. So that's where that came from. That's what the initiative was for that. So if you have any other questions,
So for clarification, the cost recovery ordinance goes, and correct me if I'm wrong, goes beyond what the taxpayers are paying for. This is primarily due to reckless behavior.
right.
So if someone is drunk driving, there's an accident, they're issued a ticket, that allows you to bill the insurance carrier. My question would be, who does the billing? Or who
That
has
would be
done?
up to the discussion within the office of who wants to actually submit the paper.
Fire department submits the paperwork to the township,
Yeah.
and then
So it could be-
superintendent, would you feel comfortable billing that out to insurance carriers if we added that in?
Once you add it in, I will work to make sure it happens, yes.
Okay.
So have we used it in the past?
I believe we used it with Department Fleet Fire. We recovered some costs for turnout gear and yeah, and Russell too. We got about that. You know, like I said, a lot of the times when we go, especially on accidents, which is a misnomer, they're car crashes. They're not residents of the town. We're a main thoroughfare to get to and from Fort Custer, and a lot of our incidents that we go on are not taxpayers. So they're utilizing our services basically free of charge. So it's just a general way to get a little bit back. You know, it's not going to recover everything, but it's just something to bring a little bit back. And to be honest with you, if anyone's had an accident, one of the first questions you're asked is, did a fire department respond? Whether it's on paper or whether you're talking to the agent, they'll ask you if a fire department has responded. They all have a line item for the cost of the fire response. So it's an expectation on their end. So it's something that we've underutilized, and it's something that we could, you know, like I said, you're not going to recover all your costs, but a little bit.
It helps.
So,
any further discussion?
Yes, so I spoke with the legal counsel. I know you and I had a discussion for an amendment. Could you explain what, we had spoken about, that we
Right, so-
actually have to have a draft in front of us?
Yeah, the township has a fire recovery ordinance right now,
Mhm.
okay, and you explained that very well, the whole purpose of that. I haven't seen a copy of the ordinance, whoever even it didn't make it to the agenda packet, yeah. No, I'm not sure, but it sounds like there's some minimal revisions that need to be made to it. So in order to do that, we adopt an ordinance we amend an ordinance by adopting an ordinance. So we just have to put that in ordinance format. If it's minimal changes, it's not gonna take very long to do. It's a 2-step process for charter townships to adopt an ordinance. The first step is receiving it for first reading, and then you set it for an adoption hearing. So you can do it a couple ways. If you want, you can, as soon as I get the revisions done, I could forward up to the township. April meeting, if you don't want to wait until April, you could just get a quorum of the board together, do a special meeting to accept it for first reading, and then set it for adoption. Sometime from when you accept it for first reading, but before you adopt it, you have to publish a notice of ordinance submission. That goes to the, I think it's the shopper that the county uses. And, it just puts the public on notice that the township's, going to be considering an ordinance to adopt. And once the ordinance is adopted, we have to publish a notice of ordinance adoption, but that's the procedure.
I do have one question for you, Chief. You mentioned that we are a thoroughfare for folks who from here to the fort. And when accidents happen to a person who is not of this township, the basic, you said, a free ride.
Yeah.
We bill the auto insurance.
Yeah.
For partial recovery of funds. I'm gonna guess that there's no way possible to bill the home of origin for the people in their township. Does it happen, does it?
No,
No, it just happened in our township, if they're here, it was
Yeah.
one of our people.
Yeah.
It's covered, if not, it just comes
There's-
out, so.
the mutual aid agreement system kind of takes care of that.
Okay,
So if we help them, we don't charge them. If they help us, they don't charge us, and,
Understood.
that sort of thing. You know, and it's considered, what is considered as a soft billing is just the insurance company. And if someone gets, let's just say they were inebriated, they get arrested, they go to court, they get a judgment, you can have that cost added to their restitution through the court system too. Because a lot of times they don't have insurance anyway. But that, and Seth, it's a boilerplate ordinance.
Yeah.
You know, so it's pretty much what everybody has, other than just couple specific things for us. So,
thank you, Pete.
yeah, thank you.
Right, yes,
So it is, once we vote on this, if it's approved, then I'd like to make a motion after that, to address a special meeting, so we can get this moving for the fire department.
yes. So would we have, what is the current motion?
We have it on we have to vote on it, it's in here
So what is the current motion, just to approve this resolution?
Just approve.
to approve that.
All right.
We have been moved and
Right, good.
support.
So let's do a roll call, please.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Supervisor Kendall.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Hingham.
Yes.
Clerk Baraco. Yes. 7 yes, motion carried.
And, I move that we call a special meeting in, I would say, the next 7 days to address getting the first read-in of the ordinance and posting, so that it would be then prepared for the August meeting, or April meeting.
Legal
Make that
counsel,
motion.
next 7 days, are you available?
I don't think you'll need me for the meeting unless there's questions. If it's very simple amendments, I could maybe write up that, because I don't want to interfere with your schedule, just make sure, my availability.
We have a copy of what they provided for amendment requests. I couldn't give it to you. if you
Okay.
don't have it.
All right, but yeah, if you want to set a special meeting date, I can just make sure that you have, what you need by that.
So I would just say by next Thursday. And do we want to get specific on that, or let's?
So next, let's make a motion, say next 7 days, to have a committee meet to discuss the,
Well, okay, we do need to be specific on that, because if we're gonna make that motion tonight, that'll start as our 18-hour notice. So I would say next Thursday, 2 p.m. And we just need 4.
okay, good.
Sorry.
You can't do 2 p.m.
Oh, that's right, you need earlier, 10:30.
Does morning work for?
Yes, I'm,
Do I?
election wise,
I don't have election.
all right.
10:30 would work for me.
10:30?
10:30,
Ms.
10:30.
Hires,
Ten thirty Thursday?
Right, so your motion now stands
as next Thursday, 10:30 a.m.
Call special meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
At the township hall.
At
That was
10:30.
okay, second.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty, all in favor?
Any further discussion?
Okay, for discussions of the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Right, moving on to public, the public comment. No, wait, no. Okay, please, the vendor break, moving to the, unfinished, sorry, new business. We got to, please, the vendor break, please, to the floor. What I have.
Share the moment yourself. Thank you for squeezing me in here tonight. We had started this project, way before I was here. Actually back in 2021. We started the assessment, the needs and assessment on the 3 fire stations and also taking into account the township hall space and personnel. It kind of stalled out at some point. There was changes in personnel here. I think we went through a few supervisors, maybe a few superintendents, one chief to another chief, or chief still around. Anyways, time went by and it kind of got noticed and picked up. And Matt and I have been talking about getting it back on. We came in and met with the township, a few people, and talked about getting it back moving again. So kind of did a little summary of where we are, what we've done. We've done some of the initial space needs and survey interviews and did the onsite photographs and measurements. So some of the physical stuff we've done, probably want to go back and redo the interviews with the new people and what has changed in the last few years. And then update that surveys, go back, reassess the physical assessments and compare that to the standards, provide a draft, review the draft, and then do a final assessment. Which that will make Casey happy because then you can add that. We're gonna CIP plan you're talking about, get this in there so the ARPA funds. We're basically here to say I'm jumped in, taking this on and gonna finish it as fast as we possibly can.
Is there, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Is there a time frame like all of those need studies? How long does that take traditionally?
Well, I would think it wouldn't be any more than 2 months. I would think. This is depending on schedules with redoing the interviews. The nice thing is we're pretty much right down the road, so.
And do you have copies of the previous need study that you did?
No, actually, the previous need study wasn't finished.
It wasn't.
That's where we're,
Okay,
it was like 40%, 50% of the work was done. The interviews, the photographs, the measurements. It just never really compiled in together.
okay.
So that's where we want to finish up.
This is up for station 1, correct?
What was that?
This is up for station 1.
No, actually, we're assessing all 3.
Okay,
So
So if we paid for that, there would be no additional cost to finish that project, because my understanding was that it had been completed. Or are you expecting an additional cost to update that information and finish that
I
project?
think there's only been, I think half of it was invoiced.
Okay.
That's my understanding from
Then what-
accounting. We can talk about that and make sure, but yes, any work that, whatever was outlined in the scope of work on the proposal, that work will be completed at that price, no matter what it takes from here to be completed. Yeah, we're not gonna expand because of what happened in the dropping the ball. We're not going to expand the service, that's not our way we do business.
take a bit for the chair, just so for the people here to know about this. Station 1, the firehouse, chief, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's been condemned. Since 2017, this building's been condemned, and they still have 2 trucks there.
Got 2 trucks there, yes.
They have 2 trucks there, and how many actually firefighters stay there in the building, like on call nights?
None.
None. So when there's a fire, these gentlemen have to, and ladies have to go from their homes or the residence
Take over their home after the fire goes.
down to the station, get to a condemned building, get the rigs and go out to fight the fires. This is a high importance for this township is we need to find resolution to this, we need to build a new building, transfer trucks and then destroy the old building. I got my fish. But it'd be important to have a secure, a safe building to hold all our firefighting equipment to respond to our township and take care of fires and needs in the area. So this is a high priority, and I do appreciate the the finding of the ball dropped and that you picked it up and are now bringing this to us. So thank you.
Will you be preparing for review
For the,
for additional service?
only if there are a few things, well, on the paper, I noted some things on the back. There were four bullet points that were identified as additional services in the proposal. Doing conceptual layouts, conceptual of the building layouts, the site layout, doing a survey of the property so that we're getting all the geometry and making sure that everything we're thinking about might fit, and then doing environmental studies. Those are things that, you know, don't have to be in the assessment because they're the kind of the next step. So again, I just kind of give you an idea what we're looking at. Have them wrote down in case people are like, well, what's the difference between a facility design and a site layout? Would be on this side, you can see this is kind of a facility layout where we're showing just a basic idea of coming in. This is for actually a township hall, meeting room, and then offices. And then on the back side, well, I'll hold it this way. So this would be the facility assessment for the concept design of what the building would look like. And then on this side is a concept sketch, kind of taking a little bit more to a preliminary plan to get an idea of what it would look like with the parking and the building and the pretty green trees.
But you're gonna start with programming level first, correct?
Yes, we're gonna finish up the programming, the needs and assessment.
Yeah, the programming needs assessment would be allow people to extrapolate square foot costs and get some idea of the range of the costs. So we don't necessarily need to pay for design at that point. What we need is the programming to be able to get something, and that would be the interviews, and then they would make recommendations on square foots on a very schematic level.
Very schematic level, yes. And yes, the after we finalize that space needs, we can put together a probable cost on that. So we're working on 3 of these at the same time of different townships and villages with their fire stations.
So next month, we'll be back here again to present as far as new findings.
I would like to, yes,
I would too.
at least an updated report of where we are, where we went from, where we are.
And forgive me, your name?
Mike DeVries.
Mike DeVries.
Yep.
Thank you.
The other thing, the other thing I did mention was, well, I didn't mention everybody, but I will. There is a federal appropriations of funding that's out there through Senator Peters. And he's trying to appropriate the federal funds to the state of Michigan. The deadline is next Wednesday. I know it's kind of quick, but kind of have a blanket format, like a spreadsheet, just to kind of put narratives together. You can only put 4,000 characters in the box, so you can't do a whole 6-page report. So I can work with you, kind of put that together, see if we can gather more funds to go with the ARPA funds to cut down the cost, because this would be free and clear. Once again, just like ARPA, no matching or anything like that.
In the form of a grant?
No, it's appropriations. Here you go.
Okay.
Let's do Wednesday.
Do Wednesday, yeah, but I think it's, let's say Tuesday, just to make sure. Like I said, I've got a spreadsheet I can send to you. We can put together the narrative, and then I can just paste it right into the website.
Do we need a board action for that?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, to apply for those appropriations, really, wow, we should probably do a board action for that. Yeah, yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time, we have few people that are somewhat dedicated to just looking at funds like this. Whether it be real appropriations, works and recs and anything like that, just to try and help our clients out. So have the money when it's done.
Is that at an additional cost?
No, this is something that it's like 7, 8 line items on a webpage. So it's not like we're doing all sorts of grant research. I can charge you for some of them. This one's easy.
Do you want to make the motion?
Yeah, motion to file for the federal appropriations grant for the federal appropriations for the fire department to apply. To apply.
Who's gonna wait for the fill it out?
Please.
Please send in, right?
Support, yep, discussion, yep. they'll help there, they'll just take a little bit of the internal insight, probably mostly from Larry, he's got the most knowledge. Yep, so.
But there's a way.
So
we
it's
can
not a grant.
access- No,
Not a
It's
grant.
just appropriation, okay,
Appropriations fund.
we can
And that's
access funding.
through Senator Peters' office.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, so motion and discussion, there's, so to go to the second the motion, I apologize. You seconded it, we have discussion, done, any further discussion of the motion?
And who was the first? So the
Miller.
Miller,
Hires.
okay.
Notice period, ours, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all approved, great. So, thank you.
Another question, do we need further board actions to direct them to finish the report? Or should we already approved that, whoever approved it back in the day?
You already made the board action to do the entire report. They just did half of it and invoiced half of it. So you guys already had a resolution.
So,
to do-
so we're good on that then?
Yeah.
Okay. At this point in time, would I make a motion to have, is it Mike? Yeah. Have Mike, we can report back for new business next meeting?
I think if he has it finished, he'll reach out
Okay.
to,
And you could just add it to the agenda.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
he might not have it finished.
Oh, no, he'll be finished. I have faith in Mike.
He's lived it 2 days.
So, that concludes the new business, am I correct? Anything else for new business? Moving on to public comment. You come in the black sweatshirt. Can you please rise and state your name?
You gotta go through the process here. Ding, 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 ding. Peter Van Gogh arriving. Ding.
Prior Navy?
Huh?
Prior Navy?
Yeah, I sent some messages. The whole family.
Yeah, there we go. Got it.
First of all, you don't call that big to me. They said you were big.
I'm so down.
But you're a medical doctor.
Yes, sir, I am.
It hurts when I do this.
Quit doing that.
I'd like to welcome you aboard.
Thank you.
Some pretty good hope. Mr. Heichel, this gentleman right here recognized tonight the first time I participated in the Pledge of Allegiance in this room in over a year. Not because I had any problem with my patriotism to the United States of America. I just did not recognize this board participating by the rules and mores of the United States of America. I have high hopes for the future. This is your first night. We don't want to go too deep for you.
That's right.
But stand by for heavy rolls. That's it. First night. You're doing great.
Thank you. We'll talk more later.
Excuse me?
We'll talk more later.
Yes.
For public comment, anybody else?
Gene McKay,
Okay, welcome.
you don't know yet. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to, thank Officer La Valley. I always mispronounce the name, pardon me. Former college professor, can't pronounce it. She, responded to an accident my son's girlfriend had on Hamilton Road, where she met a deer that totaled her car. She was fine and everything. But she says, that officer was so nice. I said, did you get her name? And she did. So I just wanted to thank her personally.
Officer Valley.
Yes. I'm probably one of the few people that actually read your whole personnel policy, handbook, whatever that is. And I just have 2 comments to make about it. I noticed when I read through it, I did not see a conflict of interest statement in it, which I think is an important part of a public personnel policy. And I would hope that you would consider putting one in. I also have perused your website and the personnel policy, and I'm looking for something related to a policy, or maybe there's something in place that I didn't find related to competitive bidding. Now, I'm not saying competitive bidding for coffee for the coffee maker. I'm saying for a certain dollar amount and above, is there an official competitive bidding process which some personnel should follow? If so, it should be referenced at least in the personnel policy, if not stated there. Those are just my opinions. And I just want to say, welcome aboard. Thank you.
Where'd you teach?
Public administration.
Nice. Mr. Shot.
I'd like to first speak for those who aren't able to be here and speak for themselves. I want to give credit where credit is due. I see Cody is making immense efforts to make our meetings more public here. Thank you so much. Live meetings for people are essential. We still have to get to that last step of having it a Zoom meeting where people who are homebound can actually contribute if they need to here in the meeting. That last step is so essential. We saw that as soon as officials needed Zoom meetings during COVID era, it was done like that. It needs to be the same priority for the voters. And especially those who are unable to be here, even if they would. And on the same note as that, we have our former supervisor here tonight who has been complaining for years about not able to hear these meetings. I heard other members of the audience saying that they could not hear what was happening tonight. We still have to have sound amplification or headphones or something for the hearing impaired. Everybody needs to be able to participate. And I'm glad that what I said at the first comment time is already out there, because us knowing where this stuff is coming from is exactly what I want to address. And I'll shift gears here a little bit, a couple of times. First, I want to say on policy and procedure here, I think we're still years overdue on having a parliamentarian here. Any matter before the board can just be tabled, just a vote to table that to the next meeting, and that automatically moves it to old business for the next meeting. Also, I'm fairly certain that any member can retract their motion at any time, also amend it. I think there needs to be an end to board members trying to run the meeting from their individual places. I think showing a display in front of the public where a board member says, let me retract that motion, and somebody says, no, I want to scold you first. I think that's disgusting. And I think we have to do better. And I'm going to leave that matter there on the township. I try not to focus entirely on that. I want to say to everyone who can hear, I am on the ballot and running for our state representative for the 44th district here. And it's not for nothing, and it's not to give up on this township. I believe that what happens in this township is paramount. I believe what happens at the most local levels is the most important thing. I am concerned when I still hear things about, like, federal money is out there, so we should just snatch it up. We're spending up the inheritance of our grandchildren. We need to question whether or not money will be spent if we don't take it and spend it. You know, we've moved from a model where a few government agencies are having $100 hammers and $100 toilet seats to this.
Thank you.
Talking back here, and I think everybody can hear me. I'm Sproul, the one he was talking about. So I'm saying I echo his
If you don't mind,
point.
please, to the podium, just,
Okay,
if you don't mind,
we
please.
can't hear you guys back there, so
I
that's why I'm
apologize.
coming up here. Or I concur with what he's saying right there. Cause I was here at a budget meeting and I had the same problem, cause he was also here at the same time. We cannot hear. We need a different sound system for these people to be able to participate in stuff that's brought up here. We have to be able to hear what's going on. And when they're sitting here talking to you, you know, this gentleman here, you can understand part of what he's saying back there, but not all of it. You know, so it depends on their voice and how it carries. But sitting back there, John Q. Public cannot hear, and this has been an age-old problem. This is not the first time it's been brought up. And if something's not done, it's probably not gonna be the last time either. And welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
I know, maybe the first meeting is a little tough, but welcome aboard.
I'm learning. And not to cut your time, but at the next meeting, I will bring microphones and speakers. I guarantee you, you'll have sound. That's my guarantee to you. At the next meeting, I'll bring my personal equipment here and you will have sound. I guarantee you.
Well,
If that happens again,
the township should be able to also help you out.
for the interim, until we make that happen, I'll use mine. Won't be a problem again for you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Write it down.
Hello, Adam Michaela. A former supervisor, in your position, will know how you feel. A lot of interesting things said again tonight. You know, it's correct that the supervisor does the appointing, and I'm glad to hear that some people now on the board are looking to do it in that manner. Because while I was in office, that was a point of contention. First week while I was in office, I had the planning commission chairman come in and tell me who was going to be appointed onto the planning commission. Yeah, and then I had to almost, you know, one of the times when they filed some police report on me because he created a disturbance in the meeting room there and wouldn't leave. But now that person's now trying to say, hey, we need to make sure that we have you appointed. So that was a great thing. I'm glad to see all those changes happening. Man. So things put on the agenda the day of the meetings. I think that's kind of interesting too, that's brought up now and talked about. When it's convenient for those that are in power, that are doing things in power. When I was in office, we had, was not allowed to be in charge of the agenda. You're in charge of the agenda as a supervisor. You make the agenda, right? Well, they voted to remove that from me while I was here. So Joyce did the agenda. And so numerous times I didn't get the copy of the agenda until the day of the meeting, and we had magical things that appeared on the agenda. Some of the things that have happened in the past are just kind of, I wouldn't believe it if I didn't live through it, to be honest. This whole fire department thing, that was started initially when I was in office because I had someone that actually had viewed the property, that actually deemed it that it is repairable, that it is usable, that something else could be done with that property. So what Fleece and Vanderbrink is bringing to you is what they've been planning, because for some reason, everyone in our township wants to just destroy the history of the township and not any just keep things, conserve things that are of the past. And so for them to say that that's the only option, they're lying to you. Okay. And I can talk to you and share all the details about that. Facebook commenting has been an issue. You guys have silenced the public from simply having a conversation on your posts on Facebook. It actually was available to post today. My wife commented, and then immediately after they deleted the comments options. So those are things that need to be taken care of. I guess that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you. Just like to clarify a few things that were said and not went over, I guess. As far as earlier comments about the solar ordinance, that was the board directive that was sent down to the planning commission for review. At that time, we knew the state was going to probably take action, and the general consensus of both the planning commission itself and the legal counsel that we consult was that it was better to have something on the books than not. There's currently a petition out there to try and repeal that legislation that the state has forced on its residents on a state level as far as the solar goes. It was 4.5 pages long. It's now over 20 pages. So it was a thorough review that was necessary. Second of all, in regards to the personnel policy, it's on the website. Mr. McKay brought up some very interesting points there. I would just add that it actually has an adoption date on there. It doesn't say draft. We need to conduct business better than that, as far as that goes. As far as the licensing agreement and the marijuana zoning ordinance, those are actually two different things, just for the supervisor's knowledge. The license agreement was supposed to come back to the board this month.
That's board action, police powers, and that didn't happen. The zoning aspect is what the planning commission takes care of. And that is over to the county where it needs to be. I understand why we're waiting, but those are two different things, and I didn't quite think that registered, and obviously it's your first night and everything, so. Licensing and then the zoning are two different things, and there's some serious holes in the licensing agreement that need to be addressed. And then second of all, you can't help but notice that the road report is all on green paper. That makes me think that you guys didn't have it well in advance. Now, if I'm wrong about that, that's fine. I didn't go on the website. I can tell you that I'm getting really frustrated with having to put in time, lots of time to create reports per the township's request, and not have them either put on the website. You know, the residents don't know what's going on, and then it gets to, you know, people get accused of, well, it's, you know, my way or the highway, that kind of thing. I could be wrong, but you know, I see everybody's packets on white paper except for that. Interesting.
Erwin, about the road report. We had some road work done, or concrete work done. And we talk about road work. Road commission had to come out because permits had to be pulled. Nobody knew that. I had to call road commission. I got fined because you go a certain point on my property with concrete, it goes into road commission. I didn't know that. They pulled up my, what is that called? Culvert. They took it out. You have to have a culvert put back in. A lot of people in the neighborhood don't have culverts in their properties anymore, in my neighborhood. Guess what? I get fined. I had to put it back in. I had to have concrete redone. That cost me money again. You think I like to do that? No. So, you know who told me about it? I called Mark Hires. Hey, Mark, there's something wrong here. He said, call the road commission. He helped me. We have to do better as a township. Better. Had we had this in place, we would know as homeowners. He was the only one that helped me besides Erica. We have to be better down here at the township. We truly do. And also superintendent helped me with this problem. 3 people, because I came down here as a homeowner. We have to be better. Seriously. But the culverts are important for one reason, for water drainage. So our roads here, they are important. And we taxpayers, when Mr. Sproul was our superintendent, I believe it was when he was there, we had to pay so much a month on our taxes to have our roads repaired. I came down and talked to Mr. Sproul. I said, why are our roads not getting done? They'll get done, Rita. They did. I don't want to have to do that again down the road, but we probably will. I'll gladly pay those taxes, but we have to get better in the township about our roads. So I do support coordinators.
With the question of that, zoning, does the idea of if she had a question about the culvert or the concrete for her property, would that fall under zoning, or what committee does that fall under? I am unaware.
That would go to the county generally, for the responsible for like the addressing, culverts, all those things. We don't have any permit for that or anything here.
So that would have been a county issue.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is why I wasn't able to help Rita when she came in, because I just generally did not know since the last something I deal with.
Look him again?
Well, just, you know, and it's the roadway that, which is owned by,
Right.
so that's, yeah, over going under your drive.
One thing, right. I do apologize. For the public comment? Anybody else? Excellent. We are now moving on to a closed session. She would have just adjourned the general public at this point in time.
It's a motion to go in the technical.
Yeah.
If we have a motion to go to the closed session at this point in time. Report. Is there discussion about the closed session? Can't be. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Can we just get a roll call vote on that?
Roll call.
All right.
Please.
Trustee Hire,
Yes.
trustee Bemis,
Yeah.
trustee Greenwood,
Yes.
trustee Dignan,
Yeah.
treasurer Miller,
Yes.
clerk Bronco, yes. Supervisor Penfield,
Yes.
7 yes, motion carried.
So I believe that's for the public comment, public out here, we're done then.
At 8:32.
So, yeah.
They could stay.
They can stay if they want.
Okay. Thank you all for being here. I promise I'll get better, a job, learning. Thank you. Thank you.
You were clear, goodbye. Anyway, thank you, sir. Sorry. Okay, done. My heart for the people.
Sir, are we all here?
You guys are?
Yes.
Make a motion.
Nine, let's make a motion to resume general committee or discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So, that's trustees' personal privilege. So, second that one. And we have the
You
announcements.
gotta give them all a chance.
Sorry. No,
Something gone.
okay.
Okay, I'll start. I like the idea of having speakers. The hearing impaired issue, clearly has been ongoing. And I do love that we're implementing a service to include the public. I think we should change the platform. Simply because the recommendation was a live stream service. We already have a YouTube account. And there is a limitation on how many people can participate in Zoom. So if we want a live streaming service, we want to be all inclusive on that. So is there any possibility that we could potentially rework that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the plan. I was under the impression that the YouTube account had to be either a certain amount of followers or a certain age old, or they allow you to start live streaming. But I do think we might be able to kind of petition that and explain, we're a township, we're just trying to do this, and they might give us access to that.
Okay.
But as for tonight, the Zoom has been, other than when I just restarted it, as you guys were coming back, I forgot a lot on the chat, nothing happening, but all microphones and cameras for any participant.
I just want to make sure if there's like a hot button issue that everyone has access to it and that everyone can go back.
And we are recording these.
Oh.
And then edit on, so you get a separate audio and separate video tracks, and then we can put them together and then put on YouTube as well.
Okay, perfect. And then the personnel policy, there are gonna be errors there. This is a super rough draft, so we're going off of foundation and then we're building from there. It's been an ongoing thing. Seth has been great. And there are issues that Dennis has to look into to include to make sure it's legal, things that affect our insurance policy, that kind of thing. So it's not gonna be something that's done, quickly. We wanna make sure that we're thorough. And we wanna make sure that if we make a mistake that we catch it. So thank you for pointing that out. I do agree the agenda has been out late. We should have an opportunity for all board members to submit an agenda item. It's not just the supervisor. We can all contribute to have a resolution on the agenda, but also just like we need time to review it, the public does as well. So I think we should, have a commitment to get that out sooner. These are valid concerns. We are listening to you guys. Thank you for being here. And thank you, trustee Beamish, for running the meetings in the interim. We appreciate everything that you're doing for the township, so we look forward to having you here.
Hope I do too.
That's all I have. Yeah.
I'd like to thank the supervisor for joining in this easy first meeting.
Piece of cake.
They do get harder.
That's right.
And can I have my time back? What somebody brought up, I think it was Gene, about conflict of interest policy. And in the personal policy we've been going through, there is, I don't think it's been added in there yet, but there's a great example of that in one of the towns we looked at. Which is important to me, is a vendor for the township. Like Mike Stives, a vendor for the township, so just having that stuff so that nobody can claim that we're doing something wrong. It's just a matter of acknowledging Mark's a vendor for the township. We've been accused of wrongdoing by people that like to lie, so that's an important thing that will be in there. It's important on my agenda to have that.
Thank you.
Added in there, so it will be addressed. Refusion done.
Excellent. So, this is that's me, right? That's
And
me.
Eric and I, yeah. The three of us.
All right.
Erica.
Well, Erica, go ahead
All right.
for the announcements.
Thank you, guys. You're sticking in there with us. I'm gonna keep saying it. There's, in fact, I'm gonna be one of the people standing out in front of supermarkets trying to get taxes taken off. I've got petitions at home for the PRE, all the state of Michigan taxes. They're trying to remove that, so I'll volunteer my time and get those all signed. As many people as want to sign them. I'm not sure if I can do that. I don't think you can do that here. I would just be a citizen out there doing that. But if you see me out there, that's what I'm doing. Which is kind of exciting. So just do know that there are people out there trying to remove property taxes. If anybody's interested in that, keep your eyes peeled. But yeah, thanks for coming and, what all I got right now.
Madam Clerk.
So, I'm gonna agree with the agenda coming out earlier. Just, it's really tough when you're trying to bring new things on the spot, on the moment. I think that things should be submitted, not added unless it's an emergency per se. But it makes it, I think we had 2 resolutions and we ended up with 8, 10. I mean, it was, Mike, thank you for this. I look forward to reading through it. I actually thought the green was planned. I thought you didn't want it to get lost in the shuffle. I'm like, oh, that was brilliant. Green, it stands out. But
I stand corrected then, it sounds.
that's how I took it, so I thought that's what you were trying to do, so. Thank you for that. Yes, and thank you for the leadership you're showing so far, and we look forward to working with you. Oh, we're 22nd, is that what we're doing? Can't remember. 21st, Thursday, the 21st, for the meeting at 10:30.
At 10:30.
Special
Meeting, 10:30, so.
maybe in Thailand.
Was that for the fire?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're gonna get canceled.
Well, no, I'm going diving in Thailand. I'm sorry. Love you guys, but I'm going to die to get Thailand.
Okay, and that's all I
We
have.
still have
Go
a
ahead.
quorum.
It's your,
Well, great first day. Thank you all. From the past, elected officials up here, I actually want to help you guys. Well, you,
I've never been.
they left already. My glasses are off. Well, still you, we talked to the phone before, and yes, good information. So I do appreciate, you and the folks out in town. I do want you to feel heard. The idea of having the minutes out, so the agenda out earlier, I do agree with. However, there've got to be some concessions made because we're just only once a month. If we just do it a month at a time for this meeting here, these will get so backed up. We'll be here until the cows come home, before anything gets addressed. So we've got to allow a balance of both ways to have the bulk of the agenda out there so the public can know about it, read about it, and bring concerns that I fully wholeheartedly agree with. However, in saying that, there also are going to be some topics that we discovered during the month that we deem as a board are important for the township that we're going to add on there. And I'm not trying to surprise you. I'm not trying to all of a sudden, I got to ace the hole and put it down. But there are some things that I will want this committee to bring up for the betterment of this township that are going to be last minute, unfortunately. But it is due to the nature of the importance of these topics. We will try our best. I will try my best to make sure that we have these topics on an agenda and out as soon as possible so that the entire township knows what we're doing here. I am wanting to be transparent as possible. Justin knows you for years now. I am one of the most blunt people you'll ever meet in your life. You don't like my answer, don't ask the question. So I'm gonna tell you bluntly the truth and what I feel about it. And my truth here is that I will do my best to keep us all on the same page. I work for you guys. This is my township. I live here. My boys were born here. This is where I would make a change for the better. And that includes having you guys knowing what's going on and getting your support from the community in this township. That's part of this. We are a team. We are your elected board up here. We are, these people here all got their time up here, they're hired in, but you elected us. We work for you. My job is working for you. We are your representatives to help try and guide things, but you are still the folks that I answer to. And if you have concerns or questions, I'll let everyone know how to find me. I don't care because, I have an open door policy wherever I am. You come by, you talk to me, and I'll do my best to, address concerns. You respect my time, I'll respect yours. We'll go from there. I'm just one guy, but we will have fun. We make this a great township. We'll improve it and improve for all of us. That's what I want. That's really about it. I'm just rambling at this point in time. So we're gonna kind of close this whole thing. I want to say the next board meeting is going to be on April 11th at 7:00 p.m. If you have any concerns, please submit them. I welcome the folks at the township. People can talk at these meetings here and have their voices heard. Any important points, please submit them to the clerk so you can get them on the agenda as far as a new business item, discuss them and get them on for discussion. The superintendent, sorry. Yeah, one gentleman with a cough over there, and afterwards we'll talk to you about your cough. Well, I need you healthy and better. So we're going to adjourn here at 10:12 p.m. Yep. And there we go. First day out.